Hey, what's going on, guys? So I got something for review today. I get stuff once in a while to check out on the channel. This is actually, is first off given to me for free for review. So everything I'm about to say though is my own thoughts. I do have a couple features it has that are pretty neat, and it's kind of a neat thing. But basically, PS5 controller. It's from a company called NonBliep. I hadn't heard of them before, but PS5 controllers are pretty expensive. I have a couple myself, but I kind of wanted to see what this thing does, in comparison, see if it's worth your time, worth your money. Maybe, is it something that, because of the more price, conscious nature of the controller, maybe it's worth your time in that sense. But either way, let's check out I have the red NonBliep PS5 controller. It's a LED controller, and let's kind of go over some of the features, and let's see if it's worth your time. Hey, so I just wanted to go ahead and compare this to a regular PS5 controller first. This red one is actually one I got from a really good friend of mine, and it's actually my main use controller. It's one I use like every day. But yeah, look, the colors are pretty similar. Obviously, the layout's very similar. But let's go over kind of the differences. First thing, I did want to bring this up because I never really talk about this, but it's the same for every third-party PlayStation controller. I guess you can't do the triangle, square, circle, X, or cross, so they always have to use like their own thing. So this guy uses like a weird triangle with a swirl, a sun, some kind of like zigzag thing, and like a hexagon. But other than that, they both have the home button. While this one has like a mic button, this one has a turbo and a light button, which I'll show you later. The other main differences are this one has like a regular D-pad, while this one has like that classic PlayStation 4 button situation. The triggers and buttons, like shoulder buttons, are very similar, but the NonBliep controller has these two programmable buttons, which you can program back here and set them. And we'll just talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so. And then this is obviously the other big difference is the lights, which we'll go over in a moment. But other than that, weight-wise, they're both very similar, like very similar weights, which to me is a good thing because every time I pick up a third-party controller, when it feels really light, it just feels crappy. And this is not the case. They're both USB-C charging. So let's go ahead and get rid of this guy and talk about this guy. So one thing that's very nice about this controller, which is really the same for PlayStation, like proper controllers, is syncing it to your PlayStation is easy. You just, plug it in and press the home button just like you would on a regular PlayStation controller. Also, that's how it works on the PC. And it has Bluetooth. So if your PC has Bluetooth and you're using this for PC, then it will work there also, which is nice. Other than that, the D-pad is pretty decent. It's a little bit stiff for fighting games. And the buttons all feel right. They all feel smooth. They're all clicky. The one thing I will say I don't like about it is the touchpad. It's hard to illustrate. Like, you can't really see it. Maybe you can if I do this. I don't know. But the regular touchpad on the PS5 controllers feels like it, is easier to kind of. It's like a big platform that you can touch and use. Well, this one feels like it pivots. I know that's weird. It's hard to explain without feeling it, but it pivots. It's like there's like a rod in the middle, and the whole thing is doing this. I will say that personally, I don't play a lot of games that use the touchpad for anything other than like menuing, so I don't really care too much. But if you play games that use the touchpad a lot, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, I know there are a bunch of them, then you probably will find that not as great, I would imagine. But other than that, it feels good. Now the cool thing is it does have programmable buttons, and it has a turbo feature. And I'll talk about those when I talk about me using it. But the lights are cool, right? So you have it has these RGBs, and when you're on the rainbow, you see they actually change. But other than that, you can also press it and have solid colors, and you can choose from like a whole bunch of different ones. I'm just gonna go through all of them now. But the neat thing too is like the face buttons light up, the D-pad directions light up, and the circles around the around the joysticks light up. But then, you know, how was me playing with this thing? Like I said, fighting games, it was all right. I don't use the joysticks when it comes to fighting games. Let me be transparent about that. So I was using the D-pad. It's a little stiff. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's something that you could work out with just use, but just out of the box, it definitely felt a little stiff. The programmable buttons are on the back. I don't know, you know, many games that I personally would use programmable buttons for. Maybe like reloading in a first-person shooter, or, you know, one thing that always kind of pops in my head is maybe like shifting up and down in like a realistic racing game. But I don't really play racing games, so like for me personally, I'm not like the guy to ask that question, but they are there if that's your deal. And then there's the turbo button, which, you know, it's a nice feature to add. I liked it when I was testing this out with beat 'em up games, because you can just kind of hold it down for like shooter sections, or just, you know, get your combos over and over and over again. But, you know, turbo button things I feel like usually are just like ease of use, or like cheating, like in Final Fantasy VI, when you can just like hold down A in that like waterfall area, and just keep like looping around and just like leave your computer or game on overnight and just like level up indefinitely. But I mean, you know, it's cool to have, and it's a feature that's, you know, built into the controller. Really the big draw for this thing, though, in my opinion, is the fact that it is, you know, on the cheaper side, instead of, you know, like the full retail price of a PS5 controller. You know, this thing's actually on sale right now on Amazon. I don't want to like give a price out, because I don't know if it's on sale forever or like what the price is going to be, but I mean, currently it's less than $50. So, you know, like I said, I don't think I would use this as like my everyday PS5 controller, but it's like a good, like, man, my controller broke and I don't have a new one, or like, you know, Player 2. It's decent. Like, it's not crappy, it's not like horrible, but you know, I like the finer things in life, so I'm personally gonna stick with like a regular one for everyday use. But this thing is definitely good for like when you got friends over playing games together, and you just need a controller that's nice and like not a piece of junk, and also not fully expensive. But you know, hey, that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. So I'll kind of leave it up to you guys. I mean, it's, you know, it's a decent enough controller for the price. Of course, it's pretty cool. I like the fact that it's wireless, easy to hook up. The programmable stuff's neat. Not really something I would personally use, except for that turbo feature. But you know, hey, it's a good Player 2 controller, I think. Would this be my first controller to grab when I'm playing games? No. Single player, no. But you know, you got friends over playing, you know, whatever, Call of Duty or whatever multiplayer game. It's definitely decent, but like I said, let me know what you guys think down below. You know, is this a controller that you would consider, or is this like one of those old school like Mad Cats to you? So let me know, because I'm definitely interested in hearing what you guys think. Hey, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't, please do. That'd be awesome. But as always, my friends, take it easy.